Hey, how you doing? Keith Stevenson here. And today I want to talk to you about creating a momentum of change. Creating and generating the momentum of change. So, school leaders at this point, you're probably halfway through the school year. Okay, your December, January will be the halfway point. This is a perfect opportunity, the perfect time for you to consider what has gone well from the beginning of the school year up until now and what changes need to be made. I was working with the principal yesterday, and she was like, well, it's kind of admitting wrong to your staff. School leaders, don't worry about that. It is an incredibly hard job to get everything right. Like, you're not going to get everything right throughout the school year. There's nothing wrong with pivoting or modifying your direction as the school year progresses. So I want you to think about, as you enter into January and return from your holiday break, I want you to think about ways and key levers that will be required for you to move the school. Okay, whatever it is, whether it's your instructional program, whether it's academic achievement, whether it's providing voices to those folks who don't historically have a voice in school, whether it is chronic absenteeism, whatever it is, I want you to think about and identify what those areas are. Okay. And I want you to come up with a strategy. And I want you to think about this strategy I want to share with you today. I want you to work with whatever team that is pertinent for the change. So if it's instructional, it'll be some instructional leadership team. If it is something dealing with parents or the community, you may want to engage with the PTA. If it is, chronic absenteeism or something like that, you may have an attendance team that you want to engage in this process. I want you to identify areas of focus. Whatever that change is going to be, whatever that strategy is you're going to implement, I want you to identify what that strategy or area is. I want you to identify the entry point. Now, this is a critical piece, right? Because let's say that you have teachers who are struggling with some instructional strategy, and maybe it's your second grade team or your ninth grade team that's struggling. Oftentimes, what we'll do as school leaders is we'll go and implement that strategy there. While they need it the most, if you introduce that strategy in the at the toughest point, you are going to struggle achieving success. Okay. And oftentimes your initiatives will die just because you use or you leverage the wrong entry point. Identify that entry point where your strategy is going to be the most successful. So it may be your English department. It may be, that fifth grade team. Whatever, wherever you're going to achieve the most success quickly, I want you to implement those strategies there. Okay. Because then you are gaining a momentum of change, right? That momentum is starting to build. Don't allow your momentum to be stymied because you've identified the wrong entry point, okay? Also, when implementing change, I want you to think about this. I want you to implement small, but I want you to think about growing big, right? So if you're implementing on that fifth grade team because you know that's where you're going to achieve the most success, right? And the fastest success, now you can have that fifth grade team that will support your efforts to expanding your work to maybe the third grade team and maybe the fourth grade team. Now you have three teams that are clicking on all cylinders, right? Before you go to that second grade team that was struggling, right? That's that momentum of change that I'm talking to you about today, right? As you are implementing these initiatives, I want you to identify areas and ways in which you can provide support, right? And the support may not come from you. If it's an instructional strategy, it may come from that fifth grade team that's already experienced some success. Okay, so think about that as you're providing support, but identify those teachers, those departments, those grade levels that may need some additional support, and look for other folks to support that team, those processes. Don't always rely on yourself because you have a network of supports. And as those people support those teams that are struggling, they actually become better in the process themselves. Okay. And last but not least, I certainly want you to recognize the success of folks who are implementing the change and experiencing the change and are the catalysts of change and growth within your organization. You can recognize success very easy ways, right? How about a thank you note? When's the last time you wrote a thank you note to Miss Smith, your fifth grade teacher, for implementing cooperative learning groups in his or her lessons, right? Or that would be a his or her, I'm sorry. But yes, Miss Smith, thank you so much for implementing the cooperative learning groups. I appreciate your commitment to Smothers Elementary School. How about a personal phone call? When's the last time you've just called a teacher out of the blue and to thank you so much for, you know, leveraging the technology in your classroom? Your students are truly benefiting from your commitment. Or how about this? It's cold in parts of the country now. Why don't you just deliver a cup of hot cocoa to that teacher one morning and say, thank you so much for all that you do. I appreciate you. So this process can be replicated to support most school initiatives. Just think about it, right? Identify that entry point, implement small, grow big, provide support when needed, and finally, recognize the success of those who are implementing your initiatives within the school. So, Keith Stevenson signing off. Have a great day.